Tidian. Castlevania for the NES was developed by Konami and released in Japan back in 1986. It is the first game released in the Castlevania series, and for many it will also be their first encounter with the franchise. You play as the vampire hunter Simon Belmont, who have to battle his way through Castlevania in order to defeat Count Dracula. Simon has access to his whip, which can be upgraded throughout the stages in order to increase both its strength and length. In addition to the whip, there are also sub-items that can be found which will cost resources to use. The sub-weapons include weapons such as the axe, the holy water, or the boomerang. Funny enough, to use the sub-weapons you need to collect hearts, which in this game actually doesn't restore health, which I'm sure to this very day surprises people during the first playthrough. If you actually want to restore your health, you have to go for a piece of meat instead, which can be found in breakable walls, which Simon doesn't really hesitate to eat. Simon also doesn't hesitate to subscribe to this channel. The game is a 2D side-scrolling platformer and is divided into many different stages. Every time you lose a life, you are sent back to a checkpoint, and in the case that you lose all of your lives, you're sent back to the start of a stage. The fact that you don't have to restart the whole game when dying makes Castlevania forgiving in this regard. There are, however, a lot of unforgiving areas in the game, and the player usually starts to experience this in the second stage. In this stage, Medusa heads are flying randomly throughout the stage and is coupled together with quite a few places where the player can fall down. And in Castlevania, that means instant death. It should be said that the game actually has quite a stiff sense of control. This is not a bad thing, however, as the stiff controls clearly sets the rules for the game early, and it motivates the player to work within those rules. The moment when the frustration starts to kick in is when the player takes damage, which will send Simon flying backwards quite a distance. The developers often use this mechanic to create difficult sections where you jump over a hole just to right away face an enemy. If you aren't prepared for it, you will in many cases be hit by something and then fall down to your death. The Medusa head section mentioned before is one of those sections, but there are many more which causes Castlevania to be a game where you learn by trial and error. If you like this type of gameplay, this game is perfect for you. When you die, your whip upgrades are taken away from you, and as you sometimes spawn at checkpoints instead of at the beginning of the stage, this can lead to you having to deal with tricky situations with the worst possible conditions. This is due to you not having your whip upgrades available. For moments like this, you either have to adapt and try to solve the situation, or simply force a game over screen in order to start at the beginning of the stage so that you can prepare your whip as well as optimize your sub-items. The Castlevania series is famous for its music, and the first entry in the series doesn't disappoint. In this game alone, classics such as Vampire Killer, Wicked Child, as well as Heart of Fire was introduced. Let's take a few seconds and listen to one of the tracks. With all this said, the question remains if Castlevania can be enjoyed today. The answer is that it depends on if you are okay with the trial and error approach that this game in many cases forces. It is very rewarding to complete many of the game's sections and levels, but it can also be a frustrating experience at times. I would recommend to give it a go nonetheless, as it is a piece of gaming history that has laid the foundation for many games to come. If you like this type of content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find me on Twitch, where I stream several times a week. Links for this can be found in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you'll have a fantastic day.